Hey Evil Dead fans, I just want to do a quick video and show you guys how to make the proper top for the Ash vs. Evil Dead chainsaw hand. And I want to show you the techniques that I used to figure that out. Because I've been asked in the last week about making custom tops or giving out my pattern on how I do it. Now, I don't plan on making any custom tops for anybody anytime soon, just because they suck to build. They take up so much time, and it would be like $150 for me to make you a top. They suck. They suck so bad, and there's so much that goes with it, with the cuff and the body and the way you cut your chainsaw. I mean, it's very specific. It's kind of like the icing on the cake. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's probably like, you know, other than the cake, it's probably the best part of the cake. It's probably like the icing and the decorations and whatnot. I don't know. Anyways, they're a pain in the butt. And I'm not going to give out my pattern right now because I talked with other builders about it, if I should do that, release that information. And they're like, well, if you ever plan on selling them, I wouldn't do that, just kind of show them how to do it. And I do agree with that because, you know, when I found out actually how to make it, and to do it right, I was, you know, it's like the KFC recipe. You finally figured it out and, you know, you have something perfect. So as of right now, I'm not giving out my pattern as well, but I will show you guys how I figured out how to make my pattern. So from there, you guys should be able to figure that out. Also, I want you guys, I talk about Gothman all the time. Look up Xxxgothmanxxx. Right now, he's doing a mold of my KOS ring, and he's going to make them available to the Evil Dead public. And in that video, he shows you how he does that and how easy it is. And if anybody out there has a KOS ring, a man-sized one, please contact Gothman and on YouTube, or contact me, and because he wants to do a mold of a man's one, and I have you know, Zoe's, the female one. But he shows you how safe it is and how it doesn't ruin anything on the ring and how accurate it looks. And he wants to sell those, and we're going to set up a builder's Facebook page, the Knights of Samaria, and he describes that more in his video. And we plan on making a lot of stuff for chainsaws and other props and the rings available to the Evil Dead public, which aren't available right now, including, I'll show you guys real quick, and this is for my chainsaw, the filler piece. This is going to be one of the things that will be excuse me, molded and resold. But this one's mine for my new chainsaw, and it's a little different than the one for the standard, because when you look at the one for the standard, it's a little bigger. You know, this piece is a little bigger, a little wider, more squarish, I would say. So that's why I had to cut that one down quite a bit. This is the more screen accurate one that's used. But those will become available to the Evil Dead public as well. Like I said before, like the rings, they won't be free. But he wants to make molds of them and make them available. Excuse me, guys. Make them available to you guys, and I think that's an awesome thing. So definitely check him out, Xxgothmanxxx. I'll put his YouTube page in my description below. Definitely check out the video of the ring. He did the Kandarian dagger. He did my book. He's done his book. He's done his chainsaw. I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff. He's a great builder and artist. I'm kind of stuttering here because it's getting late and I'm getting kind of tired, but I got a trip to go to, and I want to post this video before I go. But with that being said, I'll get into the instruction of how I figured out how to make my pattern right now. Okay guys, so this is how I found out how to find my measurements for the top. So what I did is I took a lot of screenshots from the chainsaws that were on auction. I've told you about that before, and I suggest you do that now, since there's still one on auction right now, and there's only one more week left. So if you don't have screenshots of them yet, definitely do that. Do close-up screenshot pics of the top. Now, I have things to talk about the top handle and different parts of it, but I'll go over that in a future video, probably the next video I do. So this is how I found out how to find your dimensions. First thing I did is I want to know how far this top came back, because since it is an overlapping top, what I found out is this point, this farthest point right here, matches up with this farthest point, this kind of point right here. So this is even. So that's how I found that out for my pattern. Another thing that I look for is my high point. So I looked at different photos of the chainsaws, and I noticed not every top is exactly the same. There's ones in the front to where it's a little lower than this cap, and ones that are even with the cap. And I did one of the tops that I liked the best, so that's why I got this top. So what I noticed is from this point, and you gotta remember, you have to have this installed, and this has to almost be touching this center bar piece right here, like this. Is this point is even with your high point. So when you make your pattern, first thing you want to do is you want to trace this whole thing out, this whole half piece, and you want to have your caps, the tanks cut and inserted in here, and definitely trace out the caps as well. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. So once you've done that and you've traced that out, you find your high point for where this is at. You want this installed already. You just make a mark on your pattern. Usually I use construction paper. You can use cardboard, whatever you want. It's easier to do it on construction paper, then you can transfer it to cardboard if you want to later. Okay, so you got your high point here. Now you want your high point in the front. What I found out, like I said before, sometimes it slopes a little lower than the cap, or just even with the cap. And mine's about even with the cap here, just like a touch lower than the cap. But once it touches that cap right here, that's your other high point. So from here to here, you know where that slope needs to start. From this line, or this spot right here, to this spot right here. And you just slope it the rest of the way down. You know, it's not much left. And then on the back side, the way I found out my high point over here is I just put my cuff that I plan on using, because some people can use smaller cuffs, some people want to use bigger cuffs. If you use anything bigger than what I use, it's going to look funky. So, but 3 inches definitely the kind of standard for it, and I actually used an oversized 3-inch. So with mine, it's probably as accurate as anybody's ever done. It's just a smidge wider than 3-inch, just because I like to actually use real bolts rather than just kind of like fake ones. I've noticed that on some of the different chainsaws that were sold on the auction. I'll talk about that at a different time. So what I did is, I had this drawn out, excuse me, then I set my cuff against to where I think it needs to be, as close as possible. Then I marked that line too. So you got this high point, and then you got this high point. And then I just do a line, curved line from there to there. And I look at it on how I like it, it needs to look right. I actually did 2 patterns. The first one was kind of funky, and then I redid it again with a different piece of paper, and this is what I came out with, and it turned out just perfect. So that's how you find your 3 points for the curved top. Now, just kind of eyeballing it, freehanding it. A lot of people, they go real big back here, which I've done before, and then really sharp in the front. That doesn't look right. And for the other side, you just use the same pattern. You just flip it over. You can make a second pattern for it. But really, it should be identical on both sides. And also, this the top piece, what I do is I measure my gap from when I cut my chainsaw body, and it needs to be even or the same measurement, or the same measurement from the front to the middle to the back. And I usually leave more metal on the back and more metal on the front and just trim it down. Because if you think you have everything right with your first measurements, you got to remember how much you lose on the bend as well. So you could be short just by about like 1/8 of an inch, or even altogether 1/4 of an inch. So you want a little extra, you can always trim that up later with a Dremel tool. I suggest to get the cutting wheels, the strong cutting wheels for a Dremel, if you don't have any air tools. And with the tops, I would definitely suggest probably go with the Dremel. It takes a little longer, but it's got a little bit nicer of a cut. And like right over here, I got one of mine for my chainsaw. I am so sick of these flies out here, man. I've talked about it many times. Sitting here right now, this one's gonna be my chainsaw. But it's sitting here right now. It looks really good. And it's exactly the same as the one I just got done called the Standard, my last one. But this one's gonna be mine because I'm not gonna have any of them left. But really, I just want to go over that real quick, just something to help you guys out. If you want to know how I do my bends and my tab work for my patterns, I have past videos on that, on how to do that. So you just have to look at those. And I do mine out of aluminum originally, and then I go over it with Bondo to give it the nice look. But some people, they do it out of fiberglass, some people do them out of wood. I just prefer not to do fiberglass. And then I've seen ones out of wood that look amazing, and some ones that were made out of wood that look like complete garbage. So I don't want to go to that extent with the wood. But it's just kind of up to you how you want to make it. But that's really just how I do my pattern. And so there it is, guys. I mean, it's very simple, but at the same time, you need to take your time. And once you cut out your pattern, even stick it behind this half and see if you like it. I mean, like from here, I don't like the view over here, but the view right here, it shows it's just perfection. I mean, it looks really good. And this one still is, you guys have a little over a week now to put in an offer for this one. I've already had a bunch of offers already, and and there's probably at the moment 2 people I'm really considering for it. So if you guys really want the Standard, you gotta just email me and just check out the video. My last video has my email in there, and just let me know if you guys want to put in an offer to get the Standard. So until next time, I want you guys to definitely check out Xxgothmanxxx. He is doing the ring. It looks really good. And he's going to make it available to you guys, not for free. It's definitely to buy, because there is a lot of work that goes behind that, doing the rings. But definitely check out his video. And until next time, you guys stay groovy.